Now for all the actors on the show. So I think, like, obviously, in most parts, I think most TV drama, it seems like you have a character and it stays the same. It never quite evolves. And on this show, I think the characters kind of aggressively are evolving, always. And you don't know the end point of where these characters are going. So how do you approach, you know, right now, obviously, you're still learning things about your characters and you have to make these choices. Like, is it helpful or is it a hindrance to kind of not have the information in front of you? And this is to any of you.
You have to trust the writers. I mean, you basically have to, you know, at the beginning of the season, I remember Jack was directing the season opener, and you came up to me, and when Terry walks out, and he's no longer, you know, Locke, emotionally, I didn't know what, you know, how to play him necessarily, and you said to me, you said, you know, this is your 9/11. And that's all I had to go by. So I wasn't given anything more than that, but that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to be freaked out.
Yeah.
So subsequently, you've seen me scurry away like a little rabbit every time I see Terry.
It does run against your work habits in a way to work outside of backstory or context or arc or anything like that. But after a while, once you get used to it, it's really quite freeing that you don't have to worry about those things. You just show up on the day and play the scene and know that the writers and the audience will place it somewhere where it means the right thing.
And you guys get the benefit of looking great because it looks like you knew it all the way along, you know? Now, let's see. Have you guys, as actors on the show, and I feel like, have you been able to pitch ideas of your characters or work in, you know, anything at all? Are you involved in that side of it, or is it just purely coming to set and doing it?
No.
Moving on. So, yes.
I would say one thing after 6 years of having the gift of working with these actors is the show writes them, these guys write the show, and somehow they find the right notes. And I don't know, there's this alchemy that happens, whether it's Terry just getting really weird at the end of last season and not knowing why in his performance, and I knew where it was going, and he kept saying to me, don't tell me. And I knew that he was going in the direction he needed to go, and he just sensed that. And there's something about the experience, and I don't know, I assume you guys pick up on this, and it all happens in a way that, as Michael said, ends up being the right scene. It's rather extraordinary, and I think it says a lot about these actors. I mean, Alan Dale says to me, what the fuck am I doing on this show? Every time he shows up, he's going, what am I talking about? And we give him just enough to have him play it beautifully.
Spoiler alert.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't say that this season.
Right. That was last year. You know,
To be fair, he also said that when he was on the OC, too.
right. For us, you know, there's something that happens where you basically say, we can call the actors and basically try to explain these things to them, but we experience as writers the same thing that you guys experience when you're trying to explain Lost to someone who doesn't watch it. Which is that you sound like an idiot or crazy. And if we had called Terry at the beginning of Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham and said, dude, here's the situation. You know, you are no longer playing Locke. You're playing a guy who you're not going to see until the finale, but we're not going to tell you who he is. But he also has basically been the smoke monster all along. Action. You know, instead, it's like, you know, remember when you had the orange in your mouth? Do that again.
You know, which kind of brings me to, I think the most impressive job on this show goes to whoever has to do that recap episode. Like, you know, they have to be like, all right, previously on Lost, here you go, here's a million things.